Max, a young boy, offers a simple gift to an alien, unaware it would awaken an ancient force. The very next day, 500 powerful alien warriors descend on Earth, drawn to his act of kindness. Now Max is caught in the middle of a forgotten galactic war, and the only way to stop the chaos is to unlock the mysteries buried in the stars. Can he survive the journey, face his fears, and save both their worlds? The clock is ticking, and the future depends on him. On a quiet afternoon in a small town, a young boy named Max was playing outside. The sun was shining brightly, and the sky was clear. Max loved spending time in the park, where he could play with his toys and let his imagination run wild. He had a small wooden robot, his favorite toy that he carried with him everywhere. It was nothing special, just a simple toy. But to Max, it was everything. As he played, Max noticed something unusual. Across the park, sitting all alone, was an alien child. The child was unlike anyone Max had ever seen before. He had blue skin, big eyes, and silver hair that shone in the sunlight. The alien child was staring at the ground, looking lonely and sad. Max was curious but didn't know what to do. He had never met an alien before. Max's heart filled with compassion. He didn't like seeing anyone lonely, especially not someone who looked so different. He walked over to the alien child, slowly and carefully. "Hi," Max said, his voice soft. The alien child didn't look up, but Max could see the sadness in his eyes. After a moment of silence, Max took a deep breath. He wanted to help, so he gently held out his favorite toy, the wooden robot. "This is for you," Max said with a smile. The alien child's eyes widened in surprise. He reached out, hesitated for a second, and then took the toy from Max's hands. It was the first time he had ever held something other than the cold metal of his spaceship. The alien child's face brightened. He looked up at Max, and for the first time there was a small spark of joy in his eyes. Max felt proud. He had done something good, and it made him happy to see the alien child smile. Max didn't know why the alien child was so lonely. Maybe he didn't have anyone to talk to, or maybe he missed his home. Whatever the reason, Max knew he had made a difference. The toy may have been simple, but it meant something more than that. It was a sign of friendship, a gift from one person to another. The alien child looked at the toy for a moment, and then looked back at Max. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice soft and alien-sounding. Max smiled even wider. It felt good to help someone, especially someone so different from him. He didn't understand everything about the alien child, but he knew that kindness was universal. As Max turned to walk back to his spot, he felt a strange sensation in the air. It was as if something had changed, something powerful that he couldn't quite explain. But he didn't think too much about it. He was just happy that he had made a new friend, even if he didn't fully understand the alien world. Little did Max know, this simple act of kindness would spark a series of events that would change his life forever. What Max didn't realize was that this gift, this small token of friendship, would set off a chain reaction that no one could have predicted. But for now, Max was content, enjoying the moment. He had made a friend, and nothing else mattered. The next day, Max woke up with a strange feeling in his stomach. He couldn't explain it, but something was different. As he went outside to play, the air felt heavier, almost electric, as if the world was holding its breath. He shook it off and went to the park, hoping to enjoy his day like any other. But when he arrived, he was greeted by something that made his heart race in his chest. The sky above him was darkening quickly, despite the bright morning. Then, without warning, the ground trembled slightly under his feet, as if something enormous was coming. Max looked around, trying to make sense of it. That's when he saw them, hundreds of massive ships descending from the sky. They were unlike anything Max had ever seen before, sleek, metallic, and shaped like giant flying discs. They glided down, slowly but surely, their engines humming a deep, almost threatening sound. Max's heart pounded in his chest. He felt the air grow colder as the ships landed with a force that shook the ground. The park was suddenly filled with the sound of the ship's engines powering down, leaving an eerie silence behind. Max stood frozen, his eyes wide with disbelief. Was this a dream? He pinched himself, but the sharp pain confirmed that this was very real. From the ships, the warriors emerged, tall, muscular, and covered in dark armor. Their eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and their movements were swift, almost like they had no need for rest. Each warrior carried weapons that gleamed in the dimming light. Max didn't know what to do. He wanted to run, but his legs wouldn't move. He was paralyzed with fear, staring at the warriors as they marched toward him. The leader of the group, a warrior twice the size of Max, approached. His eyes locked onto Max, and for a moment the world seemed to stop. The air around them grew thick with tension. Max opened his mouth, but no words came out. Was this it? Was he in danger? But then, just as quickly as it had all started, the warrior spoke, his voice deep and resonant. "You have offered the gift," he said, his words sounding like thunder. "The peace of our people has been awoken." Max blinked, confused. What did he mean? He hadn't done anything special, just given a toy to a lonely alien child. Why was this happening? Before Max could say anything, the warrior turned to the others and gave a command. The warriors began to fan out, surrounding Max. He felt small and insignificant in their presence, their towering figures casting shadows that seemed to stretch for miles. The leader then knelt down before Max, lowering his gaze. "The gift has been accepted," he said, "and now we must honor the ancient pact. You are the one who has brought the warriors forth. You are the one who has awakened our ancient duty." Max was still trying to understand. What was going on? He had no idea what kind of pact the warriors were talking about, but he could tell that this wasn't just a simple visit. Something far bigger was happening, and he was right in the middle of it. He took a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves. "What do you want from me?" he asked, his voice trembling. The warrior stared at him for a long moment before answering. "We are here to protect, to defend, and we will not leave until our purpose is fulfilled." Max didn't know what to say. The world around him seemed to have shifted into something he could never have imagined. The toy, the simple gift he had given to the lonely alien child, had brought these warriors here, and now he was somehow involved in something much larger than he could comprehend. He had no idea what would happen next, but one thing was certain: his life was never going to be the same again. Max stood frozen, his mind racing as the warriors surrounded him. The leader, still kneeling, raised his hand and the others fell silent. There was a strange energy in the air, a sense of anticipation that made Max's skin prickle. It was as if something monumental was about to happen, but he couldn't quite grasp what it was. His thoughts swirled as the leader's glowing eyes fixed on him, searching, probing. "You do not understand, human child," the warrior's voice rumbled, carrying a weight that sent chills down Max's spine. "The gift you gave was no mere toy. It was a sign, a call to us. The bond between our peoples runs deeper than you know." Max swallowed hard, his throat dry. He had never felt so small, so insignificant. But the warrior continued, his voice growing softer yet more intense. "Your gift," the leader said, "awakened an ancient protocol, one that we, the warriors, are bound by. It is our duty to protect, to guard, and to defend what is sacred to us." Max opened his mouth to speak, but closed it again, unsure of what to say. All he had done was give a toy to an alien child. How could that have possibly triggered all this? The leader straightened up, towering over Max. "The toy you gave was not just a simple plaything. It was a symbol of peace, of unity, a reminder of a time long past when our people lived together in harmony. But that peace was broken. Our warriors were sent into the farthest reaches of the galaxy to ensure that such unity would never again be possible." Max was struggling to comprehend everything. He could barely remember the alien child's smile when he gave the toy. How could that simple act of kindness have awakened such a powerful and ancient force? "You are the key now, Max," the leader said, his gaze piercing through Max. "The toy you gave was the spark. And now you must face the consequences." Max's heart pounded in his chest. Consequences? What did that mean? What had he really done by offering a toy to a lonely alien? The leader motioned to the sky. "We will take you to our homeworld where the truth lies. You will see the history of our people and understand the purpose of the gift. But first, you must prepare yourself. The warriors are not just here for protection. They are here to make sure the past does not repeat itself." Max's mind spun. Take me to your world? He asked, barely able to get the words out. Yes, the leader replied. You are the bridge, the human child who has awakened the dormant past. You will be our guide, and in return we will show you the future of our peoples. But be warned, the path ahead is dangerous. The enemies we fought long ago still exist, and they will stop at nothing to destroy the peace we have worked so hard to restore. Max's head was reeling. He never imagined that his simple gift would lead him into a galaxy-wide conflict. But something deep inside him told him that he couldn't back away now. He had started this, and he had to see it through. The warriors, their duty, and the future of both their worlds now depended on him. The leader's eyes softened just slightly. Are you ready to face what comes, Max? To fulfill the purpose of your gift? Max took a deep breath, looking up at the group of warriors. Despite the fear that gnawed at him, something else stirred within him, a sense of responsibility. He nodded slowly, his voice steady. I'm ready. And with that, the warriors prepared to leave Earth. Max, the human boy who had simply given a toy, was now about to embark on a journey that would change everything he knew about the universe. Max felt his stomach twist with nervous energy as the warriors led him toward the massive ships. The air was thick with anticipation, and the ground seemed to hum beneath his feet. He glanced around one last time at Earth, the only home he had ever known, unsure if he would ever return. The warriors moved with purpose, their silent footsteps almost echoing in the heavy atmosphere. Max had no idea what awaited him, but one thing was clear: his life would never be the same. As they boarded the ship, Max was greeted with a sight that took his breath away. The inside of the ship was like nothing he had ever seen. Sleek metallic walls, glowing lines that pulsed with an otherworldly light, and strange, holographic screens floating in the air. The technology was beyond anything Max could even begin to understand. It felt like stepping into a different dimension altogether. His eyes widened in awe as the ship's doors sealed behind him with a low hum. The warriors were all around him, standing tall and silent. The leader of the warriors motioned for Max to follow him. They entered a small chamber where a large holographic map of the galaxy flickered to life. It showed dozens of planets, each one marked with a different symbol, some red, some green, and others black. The leader pointed to one of the green symbols. This is our homeworld, the leader said, his voice steady. It is here that you will learn what your gift truly means. Max stepped closer, squinting at the map. The homeworld was far away, located in a region of space Max had never heard of. He felt a wave of unease wash over him. He had no idea what was coming, but he was about to be thrust into a world he had no knowledge of, one filled with strange customs, ancient battles, and a legacy he could never have imagined. Prepare yourself, Max, the leader said, his tone low. What we face is not just a war of weapons. It is a war of the mind, a battle of ideologies. The gift you gave, the toy, was a symbol, yes, but it also represents something much greater. It is a link to a forgotten past, the past that we must protect at all costs. Max felt his pulse quicken. What do you mean? A forgotten past? The leader turned to him, his glowing eyes intense. The toy is more than a simple object. It holds the key to our people's history, a history that has been erased from the stars themselves. Long ago, we lived in peace with your kind, but that peace was shattered. The enemies we faced, the ones who tried to destroy us, are still out there, hiding in the dark corners of the galaxy. They will stop at nothing to make sure our past is forgotten and our future never comes. Max's mind raced. He could barely wrap his head around the idea of an intergalactic war, but the seriousness in the warrior's voice made it clear that this wasn't just a game. The weight of what he had unknowingly triggered was pressing down on him. He had given a toy, a simple toy, and now he was standing on the edge of something vast and dangerous. We are not the only ones who seek to protect the past, the leader continued. There are others who would do anything to control it, to erase it, to rewrite history in their own image. Max clenched his fists, the fear in his chest hardening into determination. He hadn't asked for any of this, but now that he was here, there was no turning back. The toy had brought him into this fight, and it was his responsibility to see it through. The ship suddenly lurched, and Max was thrown off balance. He grabbed onto the nearest support beam as the warriors stood unmoving, their eyes focused ahead. The ship was entering a new phase of flight, taking them into the depths of space. As Max looked out the window, Earth grew smaller and smaller until it was nothing more than a distant speck in the vastness of space. He was leaving everything behind. The world he knew, the life he had, it was all fading away. But in its place, something new was rising, a new world filled with unimaginable dangers, ancient secrets, and a chance to make things right. Max didn't know what lay ahead, but he knew one thing for certain. He was no longer just a boy with a toy. He was part of something far bigger than himself, and he was ready to face whatever came next. The ship's hum grew louder, a steady rhythm that seemed to match the beating of Max's heart. He stood by the window, watching as the stars streaked past, their light blurring into lines as they traveled faster than anything Max had ever imagined. The warrior leader, standing beside him, said nothing, his gaze fixed on the controls ahead. The others, the silent warriors, remained in their places, unmoving but ever watchful. The ship, sleek and powerful, cut through space like a blade slicing through air. Max's thoughts raced. He was no longer just a kid in a park. He had crossed into a new world, a world where his simple gesture, a gift to a lonely child, had unleashed something far greater than he could understand. The warriors, the ships, the strange and ancient history, they all seemed to orbit around him now, his every step weighed with a responsibility that had been thrust upon him without warning. The feeling of being small, insignificant, had been replaced by something heavier, something almost suffocating. The leader's voice broke through his thoughts. "Max, the path ahead will test you. You are the one who awakened us, and now you must face the consequences of your gift. There is no turning back." Max turned, locking eyes with the warrior. The intensity in the leader's gaze made his stomach flip. "Consequences?" Max echoed, his voice trembling slightly. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen." "I know," the leader replied, his tone softening just a little. "But intent matters little in the face of destiny. Your gift has set something in motion. Now you must be prepared to fulfill your role in it." Max swallowed hard, trying to calm the storm brewing inside him. He had never asked for this, never wanted to be part of a galactic conflict. All he had wanted was to make a lonely child smile. But now, with the weight of the warrior's eyes upon him, he couldn't help but feel that he was caught in a web much larger than himself. The toy, the simple wooden robot, had somehow opened a door that Max had no idea how to close. "I don't even know what I'm supposed to do," Max confessed. His voice barely above a whisper, the leader gave a slight nod. "You will learn. But first you must understand the stakes. Our enemies are not just after us, they are after the past. They wish to erase everything that came before, our history, our people, and the gift of peace that you've unknowingly unlocked." Max frowned. "But I'm just a kid. I don't know anything about wars or history or any of this." His words came out in a rush, a mixture of frustration and confusion. "I don't even know how to fight." "You don't need to fight like we do," the leader replied. "Your strength lies in something different. In understanding, in connection. The toy you gave was a symbol, but it was also a key. You will need to unlock it. The past has been hidden, buried for centuries. It is up to you to bring it to the light." Max's heart raced. A key? What did that mean? What was he supposed to unlock? The more he thought about it, the more questions piled up. The warriors, the ancient pact, the past. He couldn't wrap his mind around it all. But the urgency in the leader's eyes told him that time was running out. There was no room for hesitation. He had to understand. The leader's voice softened. "You are the bridge, Max, between our world and the world of your people. We need you to see what has been hidden, to restore what was lost." Max stood there in silence, the weight of the leader's words sinking in. He wasn't just part of this by accident. He had been chosen. His simple act of kindness had made him a part of something far bigger than himself. He was the one who would uncover the truth, the one who would face the darkness that threatened both their worlds. As the ship continued to glide through the vast emptiness of space, Max realized something. He couldn't turn back. He had made his choice, and now he had to follow it through, no matter how terrifying the unknown ahead seemed. The future of their worlds depended on him. He took a deep breath, steadying himself. The road ahead was long and uncertain, but he was no longer the scared kid who gave away a toy. He was Max, the human child. And somehow, he was going to save the future. The ship finally entered the depths of space, the stars around them growing distant as they approached the alien world. Max couldn't tear his eyes away from the window, his mind buzzing with 1,000 thoughts. He was about to witness a world unlike anything he had ever imagined, a place far beyond Earth, with secrets buried deep within its history. The silence in the ship was deafening, broken only by the occasional hum of the engines and the soft movements of the warriors around him. They didn't speak much, but their presence was constant, watching him, waiting for him to understand. As they descended toward the planet's surface, Max could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him. The ground below was rocky and barren, with jagged mountains rising sharply against the sky. The planet seemed lifeless at first glance, but Max knew better now. There was so much more to this world than what met the eye. This was a place of untold history, a place where the warriors had once lived in peace and where ancient battles had shaped the course of their existence. The ship touched down with a soft jolt, and Max was guided outside by the leader. The air was cold and the wind whipped against his face as they walked through the rocky terrain. The warriors remained close, their sharp eyes scanning the surroundings, alert for any danger. Max's footsteps echoed in the stillness, his heart racing with excitement and fear. He had no idea what awaited him on this strange planet, but he knew he had a part to play in whatever was coming. The leader turned to him, his expression serious. "This is where it all began. The gift you gave has led us here. Now, you will see what has been hidden from our people for centuries." Max nodded, trying to steady his breath. The landscape ahead was vast, stretching out into the unknown, but the leader's words filled him with a sense of purpose. He wasn't just here by accident. He had been brought to this world for a reason. They reached a large ancient structure, a temple of sorts, carved into the side of a mountain. Its walls were adorned with strange symbols, symbols that Max could feel in his bones. These were not just markings. They were messages, a language from the past. The leader placed his hand on the stone door, and it slowly creaked open, revealing a dark, vast chamber inside. Max stepped forward, his heart pounding. He had no idea what he would find inside, but he knew this was the moment everything would change. The warriors were right behind him, ready to protect, but Max knew this journey was his alone to finish. Inside the chamber, a strange energy seemed to pulse in the air, ancient and powerful. "This is where your gift is truly needed," the leader said. "Only you can unlock what has been sealed away." Max stepped deeper into the chamber, the walls closing in around him. The answers were here, buried beneath centuries of silence. And he, a simple human child, was the one who would uncover them. The weight of the task ahead settled on his shoulders, but for the first time since this all began, Max felt a glimmer of hope. He wasn't just a bystander anymore. He was part of something that could change everything. Max stood at the center of the chamber, his heart racing as the ancient symbols on the walls seemed to glow faintly in response to his presence. The air was thick with history, as if the very stones around him were alive, watching, waiting. The warriors stood silent in the doorway, their eyes scanning the shadows, but they made no move to intervene. This was his moment. The leader approached, his voice low but firm. "This is where the past and future converge, Max. What you do here will determine everything. You must unlock the secret hidden within these walls." Max nodded, but his mind was a blur. What was he supposed to do? He wasn't a warrior. He wasn't even sure what the gift he had given really meant. All he had done was offer a toy. Yet here he was, standing in the heart of an alien world, surrounded by an ancient mystery that he couldn't begin to understand. He took a deep breath, trying to steady his racing thoughts. Something about the chamber felt alive, pulsing with energy, as if it were waiting for him to act. He moved forward slowly, running his fingers across the cold, smooth walls. As he touched one of the symbols, a sudden jolt of electricity surged through his fingertips, making him jump back in surprise. The walls trembled, and the floor beneath him rumbled, as if the very planet itself was awakening. "Do not be afraid. the leader's voice echoed. "It is responding to you. Your gift was a key, but only you can turn it." Max's pulse quickened as the ground beneath him shifted. A low hum began to fill the chamber, vibrating through his chest. Without thinking, he stepped forward again, his hand reaching out to touch the symbol once more. This time, the energy that surged through him wasn't just a shock. It was a vision, a flood of images and sounds. He saw glimpses of ancient alien cities, towering structures made of stone and light, civilizations that had once lived in peace. But then the images shifted to chaos, battles, fires, and the destruction of everything that had been built. He gasped, stumbling backward. The vision had been so real, so vivid. He could feel the pain of those who had lived through it. The war, the loss. It was all here, buried within these walls, waiting to be uncovered. Max's head spun as he tried to make sense of what he had just experienced. The truth was clearer now, but it also felt more overwhelming than ever before. The leader stepped forward, his eyes softening. "The past is not just history, Max, it is a lesson. A warning. You have the power to change the future, but only if you understand what came before." Max stood still, his heart pounding. The weight of it all pressed down on him. The past, the future, the warriors, and his own role in this cosmic story. He wasn't just a boy anymore. He was the bridge between two worlds, the one who held the key to unlocking the future. It was a burden, but it was also a gift. Taking a deep breath, Max turned back to the symbol on the wall, his hand reaching out again. This time he was ready. The chamber responded with a deep, resonant sound, and as the walls parted, Max knew that he had just taken the first step toward something much greater. The journey was far from over, but now he had the strength to face whatever came next. The past had been unlocked, and the future was in his hands.